what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you? Then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Racky Agafford, David Wayne Foster, Daz Studio 68, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik86, Jeranism, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Renee, Rob H, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Tom Herkins, and Windrider. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. We are joined by Sleeping Warrior and Righteous Force, I believe, in the G Plus hangout. So let's raise the mic on them and say a quick hello.
As fucking some kind of bloke dude or whatever. I didn't watch it. I only listened to seconds of it, like skid through. I'm not interested in the coronavirus. I think it's a load of bullshit, scaremongering to scare people into getting vaccines, maybe, or buying stuff that they wouldn't ordinarily buy, create panic to see. I think they're passing off a test as real world, and it's bullshit. That's my view. And I told Ranty, I don't agree with him. I think it's all bullshit. But Ranty's on a voice changer last night, passing off some kind of expert as some kind of journalist or whatever. And I don't know what the fuck he's playing at. He's playing funny buggers for some reason, and I don't know why.
Oh, was it that obvious?
No, it's just that I can hear it. You know, like we've all got like things that we say regularly. Like I might say, yo, yo. And if somebody else says yo, yo, you can tell it's not me because it's me that says it, and you get used to me saying it, and you know that that saying's mine. Well, Ranty says, you know. So if he says, like, I went to the shops this afternoon, you know, he says it all the time. And when I heard that guy talking and saying, you know, I was like, that's fucking Ranty on a voice changer. It's Ranty, 100%.
I don't know. The guy talking, he's not saying the kind of things you'd say down the pub.
What do you mean?
My little inside
That's
joke.
how Ranty sounds.
One of the things
Sounds like a pub guy
the guy
too,
said
Nathan.
was, I'm not telling you things I'd tell you down the pub.
So do you think it's Ranty or not?
I know it's Ranty. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Right, I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you were taking the piss then or being serious or what, but I just don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Well, if it's obvious, then no worries.
No,
If
it's not obvious. It's not
if
obvious.
it's not obvious, then it's people might take that as misleading, and I don't know, be offended about it maybe.
If any ballers have seen that and they don't spot that it's Ranty, I'd be fucking gobsmacked.
Okay, so then no worries.
Yeah, but what's
It's obviously a joke. It's obviously a joke then, if it's obvious.
No, it's not. He's passing it off as real. He's not passing it off as a joke.
But it's obvious that it's Ranty, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not obvious that it's Ranty. I only know it's Ranty because I can spot the inflections in his voice. The voice doesn't sound like Ranty. It's just the way that he's talking, the vernacular, the prose that is being used. I can tell it's Ranty a mile away. But you might not know, but like I said, I know that how he talks, and I know when he says, I can tell that it's him, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well,
If you go to the Hangout, do you know how to use Open Transcript to find keywords?
no.
I might go and get an example of where he says, and then I'll play it in here and see if you can see that it's ranty or not. You should be able to see it a mile away, but
I might check it afterwards and just Google how to do that and just do it myself.
I'm just going to repeat what
But
I
you
said
can
to
do it on the show. Maybe it might be interesting. I don't know.
Repeat what I said to you earlier, Anthony. This is the very reason why, hopefully temporarily, while I perceive Ranty to be doing things that I don't approve of, I don't want to get involved with him. So, as I say, that's the reason I divorced myself from him a couple of weeks ago or however long ago. Because this sort of stuff, I don't need it making my blood boil when it's somebody that's effectively on my side. I'd rather just divorce myself from him temporarily. Yesterday I gave him a shout out on the show. Great, go and check out Ranty, subscribe today, and I'll just say positive things about him because I'm not being influenced by this crap. Now, based on what you told me to go and have a look at that snippet, it took me 5 seconds to recognise that it was Ranty, literally. So, that if I was watching it and taking it in on the context that it was, which I didn't take any note of either, I don't even know the title, I just went to it, had a listen for 5 seconds and went, yeah, okay, fine. But that if it's going to piss me off, I'd rather just not watch.
Good morning.
Hey, 10th man.
10th, did you watch Ranty's show last night?
No, I unsubscribed to Ranty because he did 3 things I thought that deserved it.
He was on a voice changer on his own show last night, passing off to be some kind of journalist that's got first-hand experience of this virus. He's fucking overtly lying, 10th.
What's he talking about the virus, faking his voice for then?
Fuck knows.
Yeah, well, I left for 3 other reasons, so don't give me a 4th. I'm not.
What were the 3 reasons?
Yeah, don't ask him that because I'm in the same boat.
I'm not gonna go there. I respect.
Yeah, don't make him go there because it's just I sniggered when you said that because that's exactly my boat. I said to Anthony a couple of weeks ago, like, he's done 3 things now. That's enough for me to say enough is enough, and I don't want to fall out with him. Now, rather than I didn't even give Ranty my excuses. I just said, I swore at him and then just blocked him. I was like, I'll take a leaf out of Anthony's book for the greater good. In other words, I don't want to be at Ranty's throat. It's not going to do me any good. And I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I know how it ends. And I'm just not interested.
Agreed.
I just don't know what the fuck he's doing. It's more about the motive for me. I just don't understand him. I don't understand what he's doing.
Neither do I.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Don't question it. Don't worry about it. It's clearly causing you at least a minor amount of stress. And you can do without it. I can do without it. Clearly 10th man can do without it. I'm not saying that to the audience. Obviously, subscribe today to Ranty Flat Earth, all that good stuff. But by the same token, I don't want to fall out with him. If what he's doing is entertaining his audience, then more power to him. As a YouTuber, I'll tap him on the back. Good for you.
So the Spurs chemo. I'm trying to figure out who I was going to talk about. He has a live show going on, and he's holding them to task with the Black Swan, and they're falling apart. So shout out
Doing really
to
well
Spurs.
with it.
Good job.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Absolutely. Shout out to Spurs. So I went and watched his latest release, and I ended up making about 5 comments on it with timestamps to the points I was making. It's class. He understands the point. He's put his own little spin on it. So he's saying, look, if you guys can just say that, he didn't phrase it this way, I'm going to paraphrase, but if you're going to say that the physical geometry isn't actually representing itself as physical geometry, it's bending light, then any observation I present to you, I can just say, it's just bending light then. Means nothing. Because essentially he's recognised the fact that they're having to ditch the very physicality that they claimed about the nature of the Earth in order to make this argument. Now, the succinct argument is the point that Spurs has got him over a barrel saying, well, I can explain anything then with any amount of bendy light I like. Because he's recognised that, like I say, no longer arguing about the physicality of a sphere-shaped Earth beneath our feet. That's physical, geometric, sphere model assertions that they can't use anymore. It's great. So Spurs has got it, and kudos to you, mate, because you're... And it's so... What I have noticed as well in several people I've seen debating this is they're relaxed. Our side, they're very relaxed, and they know... The people who get the argument suddenly breathe out before they get into these arguments, and they let the bullshit slide over them and just go, nah, don't work.
Nathan, the other thing is, if you think back to Rumpus when he claims that you can get a theodolite, take it to the beach for 30 quid, and you can measure the radius of Earth, what horizon is he going to be calculating that from? The apparent horizon that had given the size of Jupiter, or the actual size, which would be some degrees lower, and given the Earth size, but you can't see it. So which horizon would he be going for? Next time he joins, I'm going to ask him that. I'm going to ask him, is it still your position?
Okay, I thought you were leaving the pause for dramatic effect, but you weren't. You weren't being rhetorical. Okay, you don't need to. There is only one horizon. Their horizon is geometric. That's the end. That's the full stop to the statement. It's the full stop to the debate. It's the full stop to the globe Earth. So there's no, well, which horizon are you using? There's only one. They claim it's geometric. And if they say looming, no, your looming has been taken away from you by, what was that guy's name?
Andrew Thomas Young.
Andrew Thomas Young has taken that away from you, and you're left with standard refraction. Well, standard refraction's based on the geometry. It's got an R in there because it's working mathematically within the confines of the geometric physical model you claim we're standing on. So, no, utilisation of an R value that gives you the outside edge of your sphere and a geometric horizon for the geometric model that you're saying we don't have, it's all collapsing in on itself. Now, yesterday on Spurs Show, I heard Zanuck arguing another different, albeit on the same tangent, so he's arguing for the same point. But Zanuck's got this idea that he can do the same thing. He can suddenly start arguing for the non-physicality of his model. Now, while he's doing that, he's describing angles to the things he's seeing and how the angle that you're seeing will change the atmosphere that you're looking through. I'm saying, well, he's I can't remember, it wasn't Spurs, someone else on the panel said, well, what about these angles? And starts asking him about the Rayleigh criteria. And it's like, no, Zanuck's describing the tangent to the physical sphere edge he's looking along. One line between him and his target, with the sphere edge and its physical glory between him and it. That's where he's getting his line. While he's simultaneously saying, with this image, we can't take a tangent because all the lines are bent. And how are they bent? Well, they're bent based on R, something he hasn't got. So the whole thing's falling apart, and he's being asked about the angular relations. So in the comments, I write, they don't have any angular relationships. They've got actual sizes. They've hijacked perspective. The lighthouse is always 200 feet no matter how distant it is. So you've got a contradiction. They now need to use apparent sizes for their apparent horizons? Well, they don't. They use actual sizes, feet and inches, meters, when they're calculating their physical tangent line to the physical horizon they don't have anymore. The whole thing's collapsing within itself. And along that merry path, while it falls apart at the seams, we can have people identifying the fact that they've now got apparent everything in the model. Well, why aren't the sizes apparent then? Oh, well, because the sizes are relative only to the geometric model. Yeah, you're no kidding. It's all falling apart at the seams. Suddenly, if it's all apparent, why aren't you using apparent sizes? Well, because it's geometric. That's why. As I say, this circular do-si-do that they're on makes the whole thing collapse in on itself. It doesn't save them. It's watching it burn from the outside. That's what we're doing. And the people who get the argument know it. That's why they're so relaxed about the whole thing. Every attempt to talk your way out of this argument ends in what is effectively a concession against the globe. Oh, the logic doesn't work. Well, the logic's based on the parameters of your sphere. So therefore, Earth's not a sphere then if the logic's wrong. Well, no, the logic's correct because it's based on the sphere that we say we physically stand on, but we're not looking at the physical edge of the sphere. Well, then you haven't got a physical sphere edge anymore. Bye-bye globe. Well, we have got a physical sphere edge. It's just loomed up to the point that we see the apparent horizon. Well, then it's not a geometric horizon anymore. It's a non-physical, because your use of the word apparent's redundant. So you've got a non-physical horizon that's based on the optics. Yeah? Well, number one, your geometric maths doesn't account for that. It doesn't have an angular size anywhere in it. Everything stays at the same feet and inches value, no matter how far it is. So you're definitely not dealing with apparent sizes of things and the apparent nature of things. You're dealing with the physical nature of things, while you claim we're physically on a globe and simultaneously relinquish all aspects of physicality that you need to claim for your religion to work. So it's all falling apart. And I can't wait for one of these wankers to come in and start talking about how apparent things are, and then I'll ask them about their apparent size in their calculator. No, I've got no need. It fell apart at the R value that they don't have anymore to base the refraction they're going to start arguing about within this geometric calculation. They're screwed 6 ways from Sunday, and half of them don't even know it yet.
I was just going to say, half of them don't know it yet. So how do we get the message across to them? Because I heard M. Scott Veach last night saying that he thinks the horizon's still in front of the oil platforms. And I'm like, are you stupid? We all see the horizon. Hello.
That's another argument, isn't it? I think the horizon's in front of the oil platforms. M. Scott Veach, maybe you don't understand what horizon means. There is only one horizon, not two. Now, your necessity to invent this geometric horizon and an arbitrary position you will mark with an X in front of this picture, whilst turning it side on to put it into a geographic model that absolutely has only one horizon, if it's to be compared with the reality we face. There is only one horizon, moron.
I would say let them keep doing it, because they're just giving us more recorded shows that we can show the nonsense of their argument. Because what Nathan just said in the summary is exactly right. You remember the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile that QE shared the distances that they would let the public know how that missile system worked? Remember that one?
Yeah, is it type 1 or type 2? I forget. I always get it confused.
I think it was block 1 and it was block 2, but it's one of them. But it's surface to surface. It's also surface to air, but it's surface to surface, meaning a ship in the distance on the water. So the range that they let the public know about is 35 miles. Okay. So if the illuminators, which are based on the ship themselves, are shooting a radio frequency beam of 2-degree pencil size beam at a target 35 miles away, it's got to be a physical target for it to lock onto. It can't be a refracted mirage. Well, that technical piece of equipment tells you that for 35 miles, it's hitting something physical. Okay, but the problem is, if the Earth is a sphere, it would have to go through 24 miles of water, which would cause refraction of that laser beam, right? So it's over. Even technical equipment that the Navy's been using since 2004 shows that there's only one horizon, and that illuminator must lock onto a physical ship. And then when the missile is fired, the missile system is following the beam that's got to be locked on.
That's a absolute stone cold flat Earth proof. Can't work with spherical geometry and a physical obstruction between you and the target. It needs direct line of sight. There's going to be an update. I was just going to say, there's going to be an update. You know, that's in the flat Earth proofs that are linked below each of these videos, but this needs an update, doesn't it? Now it needs a new publication.
Well, I think everything will be updated to how now they're saying the horizon is apparent, because when you say, okay, what are some secondary and tertiary and all the different ways you can validate your point besides your point itself? Well, we say that based on the physical sphere, the horizon can't be past 1.23 miles based on the 1 foot observer height with a radius of 3959. We're using your numbers, your math, everything. And you're saying, well, actually, you can never see the geometric horizon. It's always the apparent horizon because it's being loomed up or refracted. Okay, fine. Here's the problem. We know water doesn't curve, and we know the Evolved Sea Sparrow puts that to rest because it's got something 35 miles out. So you got nothing to back your fairy tale you went to, and you're abandoning your physical sphere. So you've just given up already because you can't have 7/6R without the R.
Exactly. The starting point is the model they're fighting for in the first instance, and its physicality, sphere-shaped that it is. So if they're saying we don't have a physical geometric horizon, they're essentially conceding their loss. Well, your model is a physical geometric sphere that you're claiming we live on with an obstruction at the horizon. A little X in your model with the word horizon written next to it. And for the Muppets that come along after and go, well, there's only one solution. The one we see is non-physical, what they're calling apparent, which is incorrect and redundant. By nature, all horizons are apparent, geometric or otherwise. If it's geometric, it's based on your altitude. That won't change the fact that in their model it's still physical. And they're claiming the physicality of the world is spherical. So if that's what they're claiming, and it's the tenets of their religion, to say that we no longer have a physical horizon that's based on a sphere, it's to say we don't have the geometry of their model. Ergo, Earth is not a sphere by their own declaration. As I say, none of their defences do anything other than concede their defeat. They're screwed, it's checkmate, globe has been debunked, they just don't get it yet. The more they try and fight it, the more they're conceding their loss. They just don't realise it.
I'm enjoying the whole show.
But yeah,
They
the more
need
they fight,
there.
the more they fight for a horizon that is not geometric, the more they're fighting for the world not being their model. That's the bottom line. So they've got to have a geometric physical horizon. That's what they're claiming. That's the basis of their religion. They have to have one. So Emma UK trimmed out a bit from Craig, where a couple of months ago he's saying, we're seeing things refracted up from behind the physical edge of Earth's sphere. And my comment was, we don't need Craig to confirm the tenets of their religion. The fact that in the trenches they're now denying the tenets of their own religion is a win. Let them. Yeah, we don't need Craig to say, yeah, we need the edge of a sphere here. Yeah, we know. It's got big X and the word horizon written on it in their model. Their geometric model. The one they're claiming as the basis of the world they think we live in. So we don't need the fundies here at ground level to suddenly start admitting that they used to say it was physical. The whole premise of their bloody religion is a physical sphere edge. So don't need them to admit it. Let them say it isn't, and then welcome them to flat Earth.
It is nice getting it pinned against Craig, though. I'll be honest.
Say again?
It is nice to pin it against Craig. I know we don't need it, but it's still nice to pin it against Craig.
Why? I don't need Craig to pin the fact that the claim is a physical sphere Earth. That's the claim. It's preposterous to say, oh, well, I now need some dipshit to prove that they used to say it was physical. That's the tenets of their religion that they're relinquishing when they say it isn't physical. When they say apparent, meaning non-physical, that's them relinquishing their geometric model. So I don't suddenly need to go, no, you must now stick to your guns. Welcome them to the reality we face. Non-geometric, non-physical horizons. Not a sphere. So let them. Don't say, no, look, you used to say it was physical. We know they're claiming Earth is a physical sphere. Don't suddenly question yourself because they're doing it. You'll start questioning your own bloody sanity if you carry along that route. I know what they're claiming. They're claiming Earth is a physical sphere. What's that you say? Craig's now saying it's not. It's apparent, meaning non-physical. Oh, right. Oh, that's wonderful. So what? I need to now go and convince him he used to think it was a physical sphere? No, just welcome him to flat Earth. It's not a physical sphere. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the horizon's not the leading edge of your sphere for boats to go over. And that's right. Yeah, it's not. It's what you call apparent, meaning non-physical. Your redundancy has obviously been overlooked by even our own side at this stage, but it's minor. But apparent is true for every single horizon ever. Physical is what the globe has. Non-physical is what we claim when we say it's optical. They say it was geometric. So they're backtracking. Great. That's because they've lost. Not because we need them to reaffirm their previous position when we've shattered it. Their previous position being a physical geometric sphere that we don't have anymore. Let them concede it.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Fuck me, that was the longest monologue ever. You misheard what I said. After all that, you misheard what I said. What I said was, it's still nice to pin it against Craig. I know we might not need it, but it's still nice to pin it against him. We could pin it against Rumpus too. I know you don't. I accept that we don't need it, but it's still nice to pin it against somebody. Makes me feel good.
Yeah, and you're correct. You could go back 6 months to basically any fundie, and it won't be a hard task to find them claiming the physicality of Earth. That's the premise of their religion. The fact that they're relinquishing it's just because it's dead.
Flogging a dead horse.
They're zombies.
So when are we going to take these arguments to the mainstream?
Take them to the
You
mainstream. Mark did that
We
2
are.
days ago. Did you not hear Mark Sargent telling mainstream TV in Britain about this very argument? I did. Mark's taken this argument
Negative.
to the mainstream. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, this is something that is organic in the sense that the growth will be natural and quick, and it'll go viral because people see the logic in it. And you got the modus tollens, the logical consistency argument format right there. So just allow it to grow naturally at whatever pace it's going to have, because each level will be so thoroughly vetted and the people will understand it that it can't fall because it was a forced thing and the foundation wasn't strong to hold it. So just let it go the way it's going. I mean, like I said, Spurs Chemo's knocking them dead. Other channels are knocking them dead. The Globers are hard to find on 24/7 from what I hear, as well as our shows. And so it's already happening. And this is just going to be the biggest avalanche on them. And it's just fun to watch it. I like the pace actually being this way instead of real quick.
I guess I should rephrase my question as when it's going to be brought forth to the scientific community, but I guess Paul answered that for me.
Scientific community ignores stuff that was brought to them 100 years ago. What makes you think they're going to allow this to be in the open?
So what's the point in any of this then? If we're
Well,
not
the
going to
point
bring it
is
forth
that
to the scientific
the
community and have them peer review it like they should, then are we
That's
just
not
going
our
to keep
audience.
arguing with the same? Are we going to keep arguing with the same ballers every day for the next 5 years again?
No, that's not our audience. The scientists aren't our audience. Mainstream isn't our audience. The people who come here and are shills aren't our audience. Our audience is those that listen and have brain cells to make their own decision. They're getting it. That's our audience.
So what do you think is going to be the conclusion to all this, Paul?
Who's Paul?
It's 10th man.
I thought he was addressing Paul.
Well, he was clearly talking to you, so
Well, okay, I thought he was diverting from me to Paul, and I don't see a Paul on the screen. But if he's talking to me, the conclusion is simple. The truth will shine and the lies will be dismissed, one person at a time.
But I mean, okay, I guess I'm asking for the aftermath.
What do you mean?
Well, so everybody wakes up
scenario.
and then what?
Well, give me a scenario, like something that allows an aftermath, I guess.
Well, let me rephrase that. The ones that have the ability to think for themselves wake up, and then what do you think is, what's going to be become the aftermath from that? You think?
Well, it's very simple. Every Thanksgiving dinner here in the States, every Christmas dinner in the world, whether it's celebrated, any holiday, any Independence Day, anytime families get together, it'll be the topic of discussion. One family member will convince another until the next time they're together, they'll be researching it. And then the next time together, more converts realizing they've been lied to, and it will grow and grow and grow. And we won't believe the lies. That's the aftermath I want, to stop the lie.
So yet we'll all know it. And I guess what I should have asked is, do you think that the the people that are going to be woke, do you think they'll go? You think they're going to do anything authoritative wise? I guess what I'm getting at is, yeah, there's people with kids. The schooling is still mandated. You know, uh, when are the lies and the constant lies and deceit going to stop? I guess I should say.
No, never. That's not the issue. So what changes, if that's your question, is your attitude. So in terms of who's lying to you and whether or not you want to pay them any attention thereafter is your decision, and that'll be heavily influenced by knowing that they lie. Now, there's going to be a fair amount of people that will go to the same exact liars and go, tell me what the world is, liar. Well, that's their problem. Me, I go, oh right, those people all lied. I won't ever listen to a word they say ever again. But that's me. And the people who want to be trusted, the liars, they definitely don't want that. They don't want me not listening to them. They want me paying close attention to what they say. So that's a big problem for them, the one who lied to you. So my opinion, that's just my opinion, is when you discover a liar, you don't pay them any, you don't out them, you don't chase them, you just don't listen to them ever again because they're liars. Simple.
I've got a disturbing thought though the other day. Like Nathan, you're saying, once this becomes too big, so let's say this is at the, say, 1% or 5% mark, right, in the Western world, soon it'll be 15%, 20%, 25% in several years, then yes, people are going to be running to authority and asking, tell us what the truth is, and then they'll have to say, well, it's, they're going to say, it's flat, but it's because aliens, so that's why we had to lie to you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be... Yeah, and there's going to be people who go, okay, give me another spoonful of bullshit, please. Well, those people haven't recognised the significance of a massive lie being outed, and the people who are in control recognise that there's people dumb enough to just, even now, look at who's around us. Even in the face of all the evidence, we still want to keep a hold of the original lie. Well, if the paradigm changes, what are they going to do? They're going to be the people in deep depression because they've been fighting tooth and nail for something that has just been explained isn't actually as it was told. Now, that's been made clear in the narrative forever. They've never hidden the fact that the heliocentric model is a model. It was taught to you at school as a model. So they're not going to have to disclaim that they lied. Yeah, we always made it clear that was just a model. It's the way of thinking of lies. You can think of it in that way. That's just a way of perceiving the world. The fact that you're so stupid as you didn't understand philosophy, that's not my problem. We haven't lied to you. You're just too stupid to realise that it isn't actually the world we live in. A heliocentric model's merely a way of looking at things. We haven't lied. Anyway, yeah, it's flat. Didn't you realise? Isn't it obvious? And they'll demean the people who go to them for the explanation and apology, and they'll get berated and told what's what by them in a different way with new lies, and those people will gobble it down, and they won't be any benefit to them. Well, that's not my problem.
Yes, very disturbingly, that's what I thought.
Yeah, the paradigm can change. Read 1984.
Recently, here in the States, there was controversy when the National Football League allowed people to kneel during the national anthem and then address it as offensive to the audience. Well, the NFL suffered a huge loss in revenue, and they're still suffering from lack of attendance at the stadiums and everything else because they pissed off a segment of the society that thought you shouldn't bring politics to sports. So what's going to happen is going to happen similarly to that. People like me who do not have TVs and subscriptions and stopping the funnel of lies coming in, that's what people do. They erect a wall around the lies and tell their friends about it, and their friends cancel TV subscriptions and stop going to games because these people do not agree with that. And so just let it happen. It's just going to happen so naturally. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, that's the most disturbing thing, that we are kind of like the beta testers and early adopters, whereby the controllers are watching what's going on, and then like anything like cryptocurrency or whatever other thing, gaming, Twitch streaming, they're going to take it from the early adopters and then massage it for a new bread and circus for the masses. So at some stage, they're going to come and say, well, like Nathan says, 1984. The Earth has always been a globe. Then the next sentence, the Earth has always been flat, and then the sheeple will just keep following these false voices, except for those 10th men, like you say, that wake up and start to say, no more. So, but as long as they can get the majority to go along with it, and they can give a plausible deniability or plausible explanation now. They say, we have to lie to you because actually aliens were the ones putting us in this globe.
No.
Snow globe.
No. They won't say that. Because they haven't hidden what it was. You've been told that the world is the heliocentric model. And when it's phrased as a model, they're giving you the disclaimer. So, if you actually study how it's educated to you and the words they use, they're not stupid. They're not going to leave themselves open to have to get down on knees to the people and apologise. No, of course not. So they phrased it in such a way that it was overtly obvious to those of us who are intelligent enough to spot it merely by the language used. I'm not one of them. I believed it meant that was the real world. Now we're highlighting at every point, especially with this argument, where a geometric model, a conceptualisation, a reification of said model isn't the world you live in. Now, we can only say that because we've been told it's the heliocentric model. What we're pulling apart, why do they all come here and tell us how their model works? So they're fighting for a conceptualisation of the world and the way that conceptualisation works. So at a deep level, or even the people arguing it at a base level, understand that they're fighting for a conceptualisation. Even if it's not at the forefront of their mind when they're arguing it like that's the world we live in. So therefore the powers that should not be who have engineered it into our language won't have to apologise. And won't claim, but hell be it for anybody who claims they've lied to them, because they'll just say they haven't. Well, you never lied. That's a way of seeing the world. There's many different ways of seeing the world. They'll come up with some shite. And the people who want it and go to them for it, I'm not going to them. I'm not asking NASA what the world is. Tell me what it looks like, really. Why? Why would I ask them? They're just liars. But there are people who will. Oh, so NASA lied? No. That's what NASA had as their presentations. Neil deGrasse Tyson said himself only a year ago about the fish eyes that they have to use and that they're only a millimetre off the ground in the ISS. What's that, moon landings? Shut up. That's what'll happen. They'll get brushed under the carpet, that embarrassing little detail. And the rest of it will be, we always claim we use fisheye lenses. That's just how it seems from up there. And then they'll say, well, what is up there? And NASA will start lying to them again. And so the process will continue.
Well, they already are saying we got our model wrong then.
Yeah. The model doesn't work. The model is now untenable. The physical geometry of Earth-based mathematics is debunked. Now, I realise there's many around us who, on our own side, still think that when you get to that conclusion, somehow there needs to be a justification and a continuation of the argument because we've debunked it. No, you welcome them to Flat Earth and point out that they're actually conceding our argument when they say they don't have a physical edge. All right, like your model, like you're claiming. Yeah, we've won then. Well, as time progresses, people will realise there's a devastating full stop at the end of these arguments, not an invite to give a justification. Because there isn't one. One horizon. That's all we have. Theirs is geometric. That's the end of the argument. They don't have it anymore. So, untenable argument, not a continuation that we can have. Well, what are they going to do this time? We know all the rebuttals. They all involve having a necessity for that geometric model-based horizon that's in their model, and that's always going to be there with a little X next to it, with the word horizon written next to it, and a tangent line being drawn to it, and how much of the world's being blocked by it being their argument. That's never going to change. The fact that it's now untenable just means that more people will realise with a simplistic version of the horizon is not physical, or a complicated modus tollens argument, if P then Q, not P, then not Q, therefore not P. Well, if you people want to take the extreme logic with all of its evidence and it's absolutely locktight, watertight, you can take that, or you can just take the simplistic argument. the horizon's not physical, by their own admission if you're in the trenches. Well, then we don't have a sphere-edge horizon. And they need one, it's in the model marked with an X. So it's game over model. We already knew that. It's a side-on reification without perspective, for God's sake. If we didn't already know their model isn't real, then, God help us. But this is just another point that's easier to understand for the audience. You don't have this geometric model-based horizon in your viewing acuity. You have a non-actual, non-physical position that moves with the atmosphere. That's it. Depends how clear the day is. That's what makes your atmosphere. That's what makes your horizon. They say what makes your horizon is the leading edge of a sphere and its physicality. Here's the geometry for it. Not anymore. It's been debunked.
Yep, that's why they're scrambling, and it's fun.
I see there's a lot of text keyboard warriors in the Discord chat, Nathan. All of them telling us that we don't understand gravity, but none of them want to come on and talk about it because they think they're going to be server muted. Everyone's a victim on the ball side at the moment, Nathan. They're all victims.
Feel free, Anthony. You can have at it. It's your conversation, not mine.
Well, they're all happy to chat it on keyboard, but they're not happy to chat it in real world.
Who cares? They're the metaphorical equivalent of a teenager spraying graffiti under a railway bridge. Yeah. So what? You're writing stuff in the Discord server that you think gravity's real. All right, that's nice. I don't even have it up. I don't even look at the server chat. Couldn't care less. If you've got something to say, you'll say it. Or you'll complain about censorship. Well, nobody cares. Nobody cares. What's this? 1,099 shows. Nobody cares. Nobody's coming knocking on my door going, "Oi! I don't like the way your show runs." No. On the other hand, if you've got an Hey, Chocolate. If you've got a rock-solid argument for the globe, or for gravity, or for a sphere edge, for boats to go over, you can be damn sure you're going to want to verbalise that. The only problem at the moment is any verbalisation about a geometric sphere edge and the notion that Earth is a sphere ends in us pointing out that we've debunked the geometry it's all based on. Did you hear Spurs' show, by any chance, Chocolate?
No, I didn't.
I think Righteous was...
So?
Were you on there, Righteous, or was it Travis just sounding like you?
Probably somebody else. Definitely
I think
not
it must
me.
have been Travis then. I always get you two confused. You sound similar to me, my bad.
It's alright.
Yeah, Spurs definitely gets this argument.
Yeah, there's a few of us that get in it now. Nice to hear Bob's comments in the after show after the debate with MC Toon and that guy. He actually realizes that they've had to change their position now. Only took about 3 weeks, Bob, but welcome to the club.
Yeah, they have to abandon their geometry to argue this position with the Black Swan. And abandoning their geometry is abandoning the sphere geometry. It's like, what part of this isn't delicious and wonderful and a win and everything you could ever want? In order to argue against the Black Swan, they have to say, no, the horizon's not physical geometric horizon, a la my model. All right, well, welcome to Flat Earth.
Yeah, they're even going as far as saying the geometric horizon is a straw man. I heard that.
It's a straw man, is that what they say?
So both
That's
have
what I
been
heard.
disappearing over a straw man for years.
Oh, yeah, so no one's ever argued. Both went over a horizon then, right? Over being the key word.
Well, I guess to be fair, to give more context, they basically said that it can't be a geometric because it's through the atmosphere. And because we can't remove the atmosphere, it's always an apparent horizon.
Answer, welcome to Flat Earth. So, it's not the geometric horizon marked with an X and the word horizon in this geometric model you've been arguing that we live on for the last 5 years. It's not that then. All right. Well, your model's got one though. Look, there it is with an X and the word horizon next to it. And then they're into, oh, well, actually, no. What we see of that horizon is loomed up. No, you draw a tangent line to it and start calculating what we should or shouldn't see in the distance. when you turn things side on and exclude all aspects of perspective. So now it's apparent. Well, then you better start using apparent sizes in this calculation then, hadn't you? No, you can't base anything on this geometric calculation. Even the atmosphere that you're now inserting into a side-on model utilises an R value. So if you haven't got the geometry, you don't have your refraction, which is based on R. These people don't get it. They're dead 3 times over. Walking dead. They're like zombies without a head. They don't know they're dead.
I think Rumpus gets it. And I think that's why he's so adamant about some of the points that he argues. But because Rumpus obfuscates the point so that it becomes confusing, I think that the ballers can happily write it off because from their perspective, it becomes arguable rather than a slam dunk. But where's the Rumpus? He can't argue this, really. He has to do it in the back chat with somebody. He can't join because he knows that he hasn't got an edge for boats to go over anymore. He's got an apparent thing. Oh, by the way, Dawn Treader thinks that when you look to the horizon and you see the edge, the curve, he thinks it's not an edge because he thinks there's only one edge to a sphere and it's all the way around. So I said, well, when you're looking at the horizon and a boat goes over it, is that not going over an edge? And he said it's a partial edge. Now I don't know what a partial edge means, but he doesn't like the idea of there being an edge.
Oh, it's just about 3.
Absolutely has an edge.
He's about 4 weeks or 5 weeks behind then, because before we even got to the Black Swan, I was barking down my mic about us having a physical edge that they require, and they didn't like the word edge. That was literally the thing that led into Black Swan. So yeah, you've definitely got an edge for boats to go over. You know, you're just denying your own geometry, guys. It's pretty pathetic. Let's just have a quick listen to what Rumpus has to actually say on it, because he has come here and discussed it.
No one claims the geometric horizon is where the apparent horizon is when...
Sorry, we've only got one horizon. We don't have 2 horizons. We don't have an apparent horizon and a geometric horizon. We just have a horizon. It's just not geometric!
Correct.
So we don't have a geometric horizon on a sphere, Rumpus? And, by the way, the geometric horizon is apparent!
Mute.
Yeah, well then, welcome to Flat Earth. Your model of a sphere Earth requires a geometric horizon to obscure things in the distance, for boats to go over, and to bend at altitude. If you are now disclaiming that we do not have a geometric horizon, then we don't have Earth curve geometry.
I told you 2.5 years ago how this worked, and you didn't remember.
You've just made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon. So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do.
No, we don't have a geometric horizon.
The fact that this flip-flopping retard Rumpus has gone from it being geometric as a necessity, as per your model, to us not having a geometric horizon, and we never have, to now it being geometric again. If you can't recognise his flip-flopping and orthodox, it's because you're as retarded as him.
So we don't have a geometric horizon, then we do, and now we don't have a geometric horizon, right? When are you running for office of retardia?
It's a function of geometry.
No, it's not, because we don't have a geometric horizon. So the horizon is absolutely not a function of geometry. It's not geometric. We've debunked that with this image called the Black Swan, where we demonstrate that if it was physical and geometric, it would be in an impossible location based on the parameters of your own geometry. So we definitely don't have a geometric horizon.
I didn't say we did. We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do. We don't. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Do you realize how many times you've destroyed your own argument today?
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord and G+. We've got Sleeping Warrior, Righteous Force, Chocolate Sane and 10th Man in G+. Welcome one and all.
Hey,
Hey.
Good morning.
And hello to everyone in Discord.
Hello, hello. Hello. Black Swan.
Very good to have you all. Any evidence of a physical Earth curve edge capable of geometric measurement?
No.
Black Swan.
Nope. They gave up on that.
Rumpus was on to something.
Any evidence of Earth curvature at all? Any Earth curvature?
No, none.
Not from any place on this earth.
Right, axial rotation?
No.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No, they can't even define it. They argue whether it's an apparent effect, or a cause. They just obfuscate the topic completely. Problem is, it's defined in 1915 by Einstein, and you guys can't get past that definition. It ain't causing nothing because it's an effect.
Sage from chat asks if I read a post about gravity. I did try and find it. I couldn't. I'm really sorry, Sage. Maybe if you can join the panel, maybe tell us about it. Any scientific evidence or any viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No.
Nope.
Shout out to Danny Faulkner. Wrote a book on gravity, didn't mention Einstein.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No. No.
It's apparent.
You want to just read out Sage's comment for me, Anthony? I've read it already. I just want you to read it out loud if you can. Have you got the chat in front of you?
Which chat? The YouTube chat?
Yeah, Sage1123 at Nathan Oakley. It's real simple. It starts with, can you just read that out?
I'm looking for it. Hang on. Sage, where are you? Oh, hang on. Top chat is no good. I need live chat. Sage, where are you? It's real simple. Cartesian diver. The different density, water to fluid in the divers do not dive unless push is added. Push is the cause of density. Yes, pushing is the pressure creation. Push, as you squeeze it, it compresses the gas inside. It increases the density, and that changes its position. You're right. It is a push force known as pressure.
Thank you. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No. They claim it, but they can't demonstrate it.
Hey, Joe, quick question.
Go ahead.
I have two options here on screen. One of them says plum final. The other one says plum final / temp CO. Temp CO. Okay, that's all I needed. Thanks. All right, bye.
Okay, glad I was of assistance.
I didn't hear that. She broke up for me.
I
Nathan.
solved it, man. I've got it covered. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Only Paul Voigt making that claim.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
I've just farted, Nathan. Is that gas pressure without a container?
Had to lower the tone.
No, we can't have gas pressure. Not for anything more than a couple of milliseconds, because the minute you have the gas pressure, it fills the available volume. Yeah, we're not living in a vacuum of space, are we? Let's be honest, guys. We can't ever concede these things, though, Nathan. Getting to the point where we should rephrase our questions instead of saying, "Is there any evidence of?" We should just ask them, "Why won't these ballers ever concede these housekeeping questions?"
Yeah, because that would just be focusing on the trenches only, and they'd just love that, wouldn't they? If suddenly our arguments focused on their bullshit rebuttals. Suddenly we'd be arguing about how the two horizons worked. Anyway, any evidence of the R value, the geometry, the entire premise that we are living on a physical sphere? Any evidence of that R value? The geometric
There's no evidence
value?
of the R value when you watch a boat go over the horizon, Nathan. Should be, though.
There is evidence of an R value about 267,000 miles. But I don't think that's the reported radius of the Earth, so that might be slightly off.
Oh, are you saying that the black swan image makes the Earth huge? Chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a problem, isn't it? If you believe that we live on a sphere of a set size. Oh dear.
A little bit. I would think that's a slight problem, yeah.
It's a massive
Unless
problem.
it just changes every day, and one day it's humongous, and the next day it's a little tiny little ball in the middle of a vacuum. You know, depends.
Hey, Owen.
Hello.
Yeah, good show.
Arwin, what up, man?
Hello, Chocolate.
Good
I
early
miss
bird.
you the most, Chocolate.
I'll get there in the end.
Hey, what's up, brother?
I'll get there in the end.
Yeah.
Good
Tony.
show. Good early bird show on the Arwin channel.
You thought so?
I'm asking. I didn't see.
Today, but
I didn't see. I started really early.
yeah, but I'm doing all right. I was in a tight spot, but I got some real support once again, and I thank all my viewers and my donators for that. And yeah, I thought let's just go back in here for a second.
Anything flat Earth related?
Come back to the old stomping grounds.
All right. Well, I just needed a break, I think. Flat Earth related? Right. I don't know. Considering Flat Earth, it just seems to be the Black Swan situation, more doublespeak, and it's just going that direction. I don't see any trajectory changes of this situation, really. No new insert ball legend here, or there's no sudden beyond any just stories of a project going somewhere to prove anything. No, there's a lot of stories, a lot of claims, but there doesn't seem to be any real serious effort to double down with supposed evidence on the ball side. I'm not seeing it. Just more stories, more doublespeak.
Yep.
Are you liking how the doublespeak is actually contradicting the premise of their own argument, though?
That's the core essence of doublespeak now, isn't it?
That's true. That's true.
It's like
something
you lose,
about
so
this
you win.
something about this particular argument has upped the level of the doublespeak beyond beyond what it's ever been before.
I don't know, Chocolate. I think it was already like that. It's just more upfront now. Because remember the
Little
Coriolis?
more
How long is the
focused.
Coriolis doublespeak going on? It's over a year. Constantly. So it was always there. It's just there's now another part of it being brought forward. Just showing how much they are willing to double down on this.
Can you pop yourself on mute, please, Light Energy? In the pre-show, we were talking about how there's going to be a fairly sizable chunk of people that will just approach their keepers, masters, powers that should not be, whatever you want to call them, and just ask them for more lies upon appreciating that the model is just that, a way of seeing the world, not necessarily the physicality of the world that you're standing on. And I think it was a swan-shaped investigator.
Swan-shaped investigator.
Radio check.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, are we still doing housekeeping?
We finished it about 5 minutes ago.
No, this house is
excellent.
clean.
Right. Can I share something with you guys?
Yeah.
All right. Righteous Force, whenever you're ready.
All right, give me a sec. Okay, first image up.
You good? All right. So earlier on this week, this video was created by Professor Phil Bell, and it's titled Black Swan Cooked Flat Earth. And he tags Nathan Oakley, Ranty Flat Earth, Sleeping Warrior, and Jeranism. So I took a snapshot of this video just to point out some of the things that were spoken about by him. He was basically trying to debunk the Black Swan observation. And what he said was that looming is in fact the effect that we're observing. And he described looming as being responsible for the false horizon that we see behind the platforms. So what he explains here is that on a flat Earth, as observed in the first image, if things are loomed upwards, it wouldn't create the same effect as observed in those images, which is wrong, because when you look at this, doesn't this resemble what we see in reality? As compared to the second image.
Was that rhetorical? Sorry.
What was that?
I thought it was a rhetorical question. You said, does this resemble reality? No, because what you've got, I'll highlight it for the audience, just here is the observer on the left-hand side of the image. It's just above the E of everything. You're looking at it without my mouse circling it. I never, ever, ever see the side of my own head.
No, you don't.
So this
would
be
this is Muppet vision for sure.
Yeah, it's what we fondly named Muppet vision, because you can see the side of your own head, not something that occurs in reality. So what's described in this image is absolutely unequivocally not what we see in reality. And I'll tell you another issue. If he's saying that this is all loomed, or another way that you can describe that would be apparent by their vernacular, incorrect. Nevertheless, we'll use their vernacular. All of this stuff here is apparent, right? Not actually where it is, just apparently where it is, right, Babs?
Right.
Well, based on it all being apparent, why would it be that when we're using these side-on drawings, we're using actual sizes for things? In other words, this
There's
object...
another problem.
Yeah, if everything's apparent, why are we using actual sizes? Would it be because this object here is the same size in this diagram when it's over here, even if this represents 5,000 miles? And things get much, 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 much too small to see when you're looking over. If this was representing his curved Earth, we're talking about thousands of miles. Well, if you're looking at thousands of miles, things get too small to see. Of course, this kind of side-on Muppet vision representation ignores all aspects of perspective. Doesn't take into account angular sizes.
Nathan, you've missed the biggest.
Well, yeah, that is correct.
I'm getting there, Anthony. I haven't missed the most important one. The other problem is he's got this line here that says geometric horizon. But isn't his whole entire argument that what we're seeing isn't a geometric horizon? So what's this one then in the model that he's using? If we don't have it, what's this?
Right. Yeah. I agree. There are several problems with a two-dimensional view of our reality. Just as you said, we never see Earth from the side of our own heads. And we always see things change in angular size as they get further away from us, which isn't represented at all in any of these images.
Let me draw.
Can I add another point to that? I think that maybe Tony was hearing the same thing, but a false horizon. What is a false horizon? I think that the concept of a false horizon is kind of a presupposition based on that there is a geometrical actual horizon in the first place, because all horizons are apparent.
Yeah, correct. Spot
there's
on.
never really more than one. So what is this false horizon?
Exactly, Arwin.
A false horizon is based on a geometric horizon being refracted.
But they have an actual horizon in their model, though, don't they? In their model, they've very much got a horizon. It's called...
Correct.
The geometric horizon, because it's a geometric model. So no matter what happens, if they say, well, that's the false horizon, well, no, it only exists in the model if it's now, quote unquote, apparent. All horizons are apparent. Exactly. That's redundant. Nevertheless, if they're saying not actual, i.e. non-physical, today the horizon's over there because it's not the geometric horizon, it's just the one we see because we've got atmosphere. Oh, right, well then we're not seeing your model-based geometric horizon. Well, your model's still got that with a little X next to it with the word horizon. And we don't have that. Yeah, that's because we don't have your model side onto our own bloody head. That's never been the world we live in.
Right. There are all kinds of problems with this, but are we ready to move on to the next point?
Go ahead.
Do you still want to?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Can I try one?
Maybe not. Go ahead, Chocolate.
I have one more question.
Sorry, Babs. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Weren't they told that they were been using the word looming wrong? Like they can't even use the word looming. So this would be what, standard refraction, based on the R?
That's excellent that you bring that up, Chocolate, because it leads into my next slide. Next image, please. Righteous Force.
Hang on. Wait. Just before you do. There's another issue here from a different perspective, but I want to put perspective into this so that people understand how hypocritical the ballers are. Whether you, and I'm not going to go into this, but whether you think that the ether exists or not is not my point. But the fact that ballers won't let us assume that the ether exists because it's never been proven is the exact same point as us saying, well, you can't prove the geometric horizon. So if they won't let us assume an ether, whether or not you agree with one or not, then we can't let them assume that there's a geometric horizon. You can't have it both ways. If we can't assume that there's a medium for light to propagate through, then you can't assume that there's a geometric horizon either. Buntish.
Well, kind of. It's not that they need to assume it. I'm trying to make this very clear. Their model necessitates a physical geometric horizon. It's the premise of their entire claim. Sorry, Babs. I'll bring it back onto you. Can you go on to the next slide, please, Righteous Force? This cascading
sure, no
perspective
problem.
view.
I love the feedback. That's exactly why I wanted this to happen, for the feedback. I think you're on the wrong image, Righteous Force. Go to the one that is the what is looming effect. Oh dear.
Da, 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 da,
Yeah, that was a spoiler alert. You weren't supposed to see those, but oh well. Spoiler
All right,
alert.
you don't exactly have these titled.
You don't have them titled. It's the one that's just text, not the atmospheric refraction one.
It should be apparent, Righteous.
It should be apparent, Righteous. I can send it to you again. Do you want me to send it to you again?
Yeah, it's the only text one, sorry. Send it again.
That was it then, wasn't
All right,
it?
let me send it to you again. Hold on.
I need one of those cue cards with the girl holding the balloon doll with technical difficulties written on it.
Afternoon.
Hey, Adam.
Test card, is it?
Hello,
Test
Adam.
card, yeah.
Hey, up, Owen.
Right, don't anybody railroad. Once Babs gets this, I don't want everyone making it even more difficult than it already is. We'll get there.
Give me a quick catch up then, Nate, before he starts. What we on? What's the?
No, You're gonna railroad it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be on mute for 50
I
minutes.
wasn't railroad. I was trying to get it back on track with a short summary whilst Babs just shuffled his deck. But
Babs, Babs, do you want to give a short summary? Because then it'll lead back into hopefully when he finds the next slide.
Right. The short summary was that we're looking at Professor Phil Bell's presentation of the black swan image, and he claimed that the effect of looming is what's causing the horizon to be shifted from its geometric location. But we took that apart based on his imagery. He used a side-on representation of perspective, and it didn't represent angular size, and it also didn't represent what we see in reality, which is the ground appears to rise up as we look further to the distance.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to the next slide now. So,
Right, okay, so we're on to the next slide now. So, what is the looming effect? Looming is the most noticeable and most often observed of these refraction phenomena. It is an abnormally large refraction of the object that increases the apparent elevation of the distant objects and sometimes allows an observer to see objects that are located below the horizon under normal conditions. So, if you could go to the perspective image, Righteous. I think that we always see looming. This is my own personal opinion. It's not factual, but as far as I'm concerned, the reason that the ground appears to rise up is because of looming, because of how light interacts with the atmosphere and starts to bend, creating that effect. So, all right, let's go to the next image, which is Dr. Bob. So Dr. Bob also attempted to do a debunking of this black swan image, and what he claimed was that atmospheric refraction was what was responsible for making those platforms appear to be slightly wavy or bent. As you can see, when you look at one of the arms of the platforms, in particular the one that's further back, it appears to be wavy. And we can clearly see that as an effect of the atmosphere. As far as what that effect is, we're not yet certain of what it is. But Bob is claiming that it is atmospheric refraction. Next image, please. Right. So atmospheric refraction is defined as the deviation of light or other electromagnetic waves from a straight line as it passes through the atmosphere due to the variation of air density as a function of height. This refraction is due to the velocity of light through air decreasing with increased density. Okay. So next image, please. So he claims that we can clearly see that this is what the platforms look like without refraction. The arm is clearly straight, and this is his evidence as to why he claims it is refraction that is creating a false horizon that is not the geometric horizon, but in fact the apparent horizon. Next image, please. So in this next image, he uses Hillbilly Blue Ball's video, and he says that with minimal atmospheric refraction effects, we can see, the geometric horizon, or we can see a horizon that is as close to what we would expect to see based on the geometric horizon. All right, next image, please. So he goes on to quote this other video where someone does this test where they take 3 separate pieces of clay, a green piece, a red piece, and a yellow piece. And this clay is used as a marker to calibrate the amount of refraction or looming that we observe. Next image, please. All right, so as we can see here, the Play-Doh or clay has been placed behind this gas cylinder. And what he does is he pours some butane over the gas cylinder. Now, this butane creates this effect which causes light to bend and appears to make the clay to be loomed upwards so that we can observe the other remaining portions of the clay. Next image, please.
So just before you move on,
Right.
don't move on. Just got a question. So I'm clear. It seems, given that you've just explained that this example that we're about to see is going to move the clay, and I didn't stop you when it happened, but we've now moved on to the effects that are occurring on the platforms when the actual argument's about the horizon. So my question is the next slide, and that's the reason I've stopped you, going to show this horizon, this physical point where the black, we'll call that the sky by analogy, and the green, we'll call that the ground by analogy. Will that line that is the edge of the tank be projected behind this clay in the next image?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because he never actually represents a horizon that is projected behind any of the images, as we see in the black swan image. All he does is show that the clay or the plasticine rises up, but the horizon does not move. It stays in the same location.
That's fine. I'm glad we've covered that. But also, as I'm already interrupting you, his argument is to say that the geometric horizon is not the horizon that we experience. Is that a correct summary?
That is a correct summary.
So the horizon we experience is not a geometric horizon according to Bob the Fallacy Guy. Just one more time, that's correct.
That is correct.
His model of a sphere Earth requires a geometric physical horizon, like, analogous to, depicted as this physical obstruction on screen now. So according to their geometry, this is analogous to the physical edge of their geometrically based model. This is a horizon. It is physical and coincidentally could be calculated in terms of its not spherical geometry, but nevertheless, we've got something that's physically obscuring it, which is the claim we live on a sphere, a physical geometric obstruction. Now, while Bob has segued away to the oil platforms because he doesn't want to address the actual argument, which is about the physical leading edge of a sphere, they claim, at the horizon. So now we're arguing about this thing behind. No, those are 2018, 17 and 16 arguments. Now we're arguing about this physical leading edge of a sphere they need and is necessitated in a geometric model which claims we are on a sphere with sphere geometry and its physicality. Sorry to interrupt, my segue is over.
Yeah.
Feel free to continue, Babs.
That is correct. You, in fact, did beat me to the punchline because that was my punchline.
Can I say, though, that
however.
the best part of this, real quick, the best part of this, right, is that they brought this old argument back to try to debunk the Black Swan. And they're literally, with this, showing us the edge that they supposedly don't have. They brought it out.
Say, Chuck.
Right, I know.
Hasn't the top of that gas tank, when they apply the gases, got to disappear into the background and form a line at the edge of our visual acuity? It should disappear from the front, go behind the plasticine.
No, that doesn't happen.
And if you're going to use it analogous to the Black Swan picture, you have to make that gas tank disappear to the edge of your acuity.
Hang on, no. What you need to do to make it like the Black Swan argument is you need to remove the gas canister because we can't see the geometric horizon. Then put that plasticine behind the canister that's not there anymore, so it's not in sight. Then loom it back up again from behind the gas canister that we can't see, and then you'll have a realistic real world observation comparison.
No, what you have just described is a geometric impossibility. At the point that you point out what you've just pointed out, you can't physically do that. And what they're claiming
Yeah, I
is
know.
physical sphere geometry. So because you can't physically do that, you have to loom it, refract it, essentially say that this line that's now not in front but behind, that line isn't real and physical anymore. But that's the tenets of their religion.
Yeah, they need to remove
Right,
it.
but even
Shout out
with
to
looming, you don't get that same effect.
Yeah, they need to remove that gas canister.
I just want to address what Babs just said. Even if you could create that effect with looming, their argument is for physical geometry. So the moment they say, well, the horizon's not based on physical geometry, that's the concession that we don't have sphere geometry because it's not based on sphere geometry. That's their claim. The origin of their claim is that we've got sphere geometry. That's the physical nature of our world according to them. The moment they say, no, it's not physical and based on the geometry, then it's not based on the geometry. That's the end of the argument. They just don't realise it yet.
Right. All right, so let's carry on. I'll be very quick, guys, so no needs to worry. Next image, please. Yeah, so as you can see here, the red plasticine can be seen, but the physical geometry of the cylinder is unchanged. It hasn't moved. It's in the same position. The only thing that has changed its apparent or geometric position is the plasticine. Next image, please. Right, so in this next image, he uses a Chicago skyline as evidence for looming. He says that in this particular, under these particular atmospheric conditions, we're able to see Chicago being loomed upwards. But the thing to keep in mind here is that the horizon is not being loomed backwards as observed in the Black Swan image. So this is not analogous to what we're talking about. Next image, please. And he goes on to say that the only way you're able to see the geometric horizon is if we no longer have atmosphere obstructing it or causing it to bend due to light refraction. And we're able to see the geometric horizon on the moon because there is no atmosphere on the moon. But he's wrong because there is atmosphere on the moon. The atmosphere or the geocorona extends all the way to the moon. So I guess what he's trying to say is that because the concentration of molecules in the atmosphere around the moon is less than what we have on Earth, we have less of this refractive effect.
Well, be careful.
Next image, please.
He's right to a certain degree, because if this was the world that we lived in, and these white things on the edge of this crescent shape, whatever the hell this is, those are supposed to be clouds, like gas. Well, this bit here is supposed to be a vacuum. And by the nature of our vacuum's work, gas doesn't just sort of hang around and stop at this little edge. All this white bit is supposed to be gas at high pressure. That's what this white stuff is. So, according to this picture, we've got gas defying the second law of thermodynamics and not dispersing into an ever-increasing vacuum, a space it can fill. No, this picture's definitely fake. You can't present a second law of thermodynamics picture that violates natural law and claim that this is what us seeing us without atmosphere. Well, the picture's claiming this stuff is gas. It's just not dispersing into the vacuum.
Exactly.
So this is complete horseshit. Moving on. Sorry, Babs.
It is complete horseshit. Yeah, okay, so this is the last image. Next image, please. He goes on to try and calibrate the effect observed using terrestrial refraction and Walter Bislin's calculator. And we've already discussed that on the show. We know that it's fallacious and based on a imaginary R value. So you're wrong for that, Bob. All right, so that's the end of this presentation. And he failed to demonstrate what we see in the Black Swan image, and instead chose to use looming that doesn't represent, what we see, which is a horizon that is being projected behind the platforms.
Well,
See, the
maybe he
problem-
should confirm with his priest, Rumpus and Andrew Thomas Young and all of them as to the appropriate use of the word looming, because apparently they are not incongruent with that, with each other. So they might want to brush up on all of that.
Furthermore, sorry, I forgot to add this as well. In the beginning of the video, he mentions atmospheric refraction. Then he goes on to talk about looming. Aren't those two different effects, or are they the same?
Well, there are multiple effects of atmospheric refraction. Looming is one of them. However, Andrew Thomas Young has made it clear that for historic reasons, I believe the excuse was historic reasons, the looming term should not be applied in this instance. Standard refraction, otherwise known as terrestrial refraction, 7/6 should be utilised. Now, on that last slide that was up before Righteous stopped sharing his screen, we had him bending light, so we're no longer taking tangents to the physicality they claim. Well, where does he get the bend that he uses instead of a tangent line? Oh, well, he gets it from the radius value that he's bending his light around. So he doesn't have anything to base the R on to begin with for the model to bend the light around. It's completely circular. If he's going to bend the light to bring a horizon that's further around from a different point, how is he going to get the bent line if the bent line is based on the physical geometry that he's not got? It's another checkmate.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best part, right? When they try to use the R, the same R that apparently gets destroyed by the very argument they're using to defend it. That's adorable.
Couple of quick shout outs. Thank you very much, by the way, Babs. Excellent presentation. Well done presenting, grabbing all those slides and presenting that. Good job.
No problem. I just did it last minute, so it was a little bit sloppy, but I'm glad I was able to get my points across.
Yeah, sorry for all my interruptions, given that they were all your points and I just stole your thunder completely, given it was all your hard work.
Oh, no, that was excellent.
I'll just do a quick few shout-outs. So shout out to Cleary, who says, Glob, the flat earth guy. Glob, the flat earth guy. Right. Skeptic936 says, 300 watching. Woohoo! Thank you very much for the super chat. And hello to everyone in the live audience. Also, Flat Bike Nomad, he says, please share the show, everyone. Wow, super chatters are doing my job for me. Thank you so much for the super chats, especially when they're telling people to share the show. Indeed, please share the show.
Shout out to the audience. Beautiful, flat, stationary world we live in with no geometric horizon in sight.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
This is like a group gathering, a funeral for the geometric horizon that so many fought and braved for many years. And now it's been laid to rest by their own side, apparently. So.
Can I just point out as well that the title on Professor Phil Bell's video was something like Sleeping Warrior Anti Nathan Journalism Running Scared? Let me assure you, Professor Phil Bell, we are definitely not running scared. You've said nothing that makes me consider any part of any of the paradigm that we're discussing, ever. So I don't know why you think that video would make any of us run scared. You're a moron.
I like the wishful thinking. A lot of the titles are like Black Swan Cooked. And you're like, that's just wishful thinking.
A cooked black swan, still a black swan. It's tastier.
Yeah, it's true. It's still black. Before you cooked it. Cooking it isn't going to change the fact black swans are real.
There's bits in there, Nathan. I know Chocolate's a big Dragon Ball fan, but I used to be a huge Doctor Who fan. And there's points here where I'm sitting, I'm having flashbacks as these guys try to use their magic-y waffle. And it's reminded me of the Fourth Doctor trying to explain how the TARDIS works. It's just such a load of convoluted nonsense to try and get a concept that's impossible to try and fit in your rational mind, forcing you to leave one statement of fact to accept another and just ignore the fact that they contradict each other. It is becoming laughable now and starting to sound, let's say, like a science fiction story as they try to hold little relevant facts of science or optics or whatever and put them together in a nonsensical way to resolve these images. It's very heartening, isn't it?
Heartening and ad hoc.
Around.
So suddenly they utilise perspective. No, it's not in your model. Oh, well, the geometric horizon is a function of my geometry over 6 or over infinite or over greater than infinite. Like, no, you need the geometry to begin with. That's the premise that you're basing your entire argument on. So once you don't have a physical geometric horizon, a la your model and its claims, the basis of your religion, you can't then say, well, I'm going to take something I don't have and extrapolate it out to bend it back into the shape I need it to be when I'm looking side on and ignoring all aspects of perspective. You're like, no, this is just a pure ad hoc explanation that uses geometry that's already broken. Circular reasoning is the only escape for some of them. For most of them, an ad hoc explanation for an extra horizon we don't have. Well, yeah, we're not seeing the geometric horizon. Yeah, but we need to. That's your horizon. If you've got sphere geometry, you've got a horizon that's physical. There's no getting away from it. I like it. I like them all conceding that they don't have a geometric horizon as a defence. I think that's really priceless. You point out
where does it go, Nate? I'm trying to figure in their heads what they're doing. Where does it go? The point where the geometry, whether you're lifting it all up or whatever, where does this point of their geometry go? How do they excuse it disappearing?
Well, they don't. It falls apart at the seams. So, like yesterday on Chemo's show, you had Zanuck explaining how he's got an angle to something, and the angle at which it's refracting through the atmosphere is like what he's actually describing is the tangent line, and how he presupposes the Earth atmosphere is curving around a curved Earth, but he doesn't have his tangent line anymore. So then the guy who mistakenly thinks when he's talking about angles is referring to, or he thinks Zanuck is referring to, angular size. So he says, well, what about angular size? And of course, immediately he has to flip-flop and go on the defensive and start talking about how, no, we're not using angular sizes. It's like, well, no, that's now part of your argument. If everything's become apparent all of a sudden, we've got to use apparent sizes in your maths. But at the previous defence to that was, well, our maths is geometric. God, what's wrong? You don't understand geometry? Well, what are you going to do now? Engineer in perspective and watch how badly the model fails? Engineer in Anthony's double dip? The thing we were talking about prior to us realising that it's not just a exclusive of perspective mathematics, it's completely hijacked perspective. So you're not going to be engineering it back in, but that's some of their ad hoc explanations. Well, it's obviously based on the perspective. Oh, really? For your geometric maths. And every time this happens, you say, well, you're claiming geometric maths. That's what you're claiming the world is. And their defence is, we don't have a geometric horizon. Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth.
I think it was quite funny. We had McToon shouting a refractive index of 2 in the atmosphere, and I had a very unusual. We had an Iron Realm chat last night, and Cammy saw her arse. She was so outraged at the claims of these density refraction changes that they're claiming can occur. So we sat through a bit of a refraction lesson last night, just in terms of the relative differences that they're proposing in these density medium changes, and the reality of some of the graduations, the angle changes that they're suggesting they're not even equivalent to a gas to liquid medium change. They're pretty much along the perspective at 2 times the refractive index of light traveling through air into a solid medium, the amount of angular refraction they're suggesting. So this is really starting to question. I think, and I don't know if anybody's got a copy of it, but really wanting to have a little look at Rumpus's numbers. It would appear now they're starting to divulge some of this information that this would appear fallacious as well.
Well, there's another problem. Even if we accept the refractive coefficient value of 2 that McToon was relying on, it would have to be 2 continuously throughout every point along the path that the light is supposed to be traveling along. Well, that would mean that you're going into a gradually more dense variation, a more dense medium all the time, because they need it to bend down at a particular and set and consistent rate. Well, the atmosphere it's non-isotropic, it's non-homogeneous. So it's like, it's isotropic and non-homogeneous. So the reality is it's continuously varying from point to point to point. And we see that with Soundly when he did his little Tensus Bayou time-lapse observation. All the lights that he put on the bridge, they were all dancing independent of each other. So let's say that 1 or 2 of them are at 2, but we'll say that 1 or 2 of them are at -1 or 1 or 2 or 6 or 1, whatever numbers that you put to it. My point is that they're all independent of each other at every point along the ray. Well, just claiming that there's a refractive coefficient value of 2 and that's what's required to get around the Earth, it has to be at every point along the path that the light is supposed to be traveling. And that isn't going to happen if the atmosphere is isotropic and non-homogeneous.
Anisotropic, inhomogeneous.
Yeah, whichever way around it was, I forgot. It's been a while since I've had to argue this stuff.
Not homogeneous, like not layers.
Non-homogeneous, I said, didn't I?
And non-homogeneous is fine. Inhomogeneous, non-homogeneous, same thing. That's fine. But anisotropic.
Oh, not isotropic. It's anisotropic, right? It's been a while since I've had to argue this stuff. Doing this from memory.
Basically, from what Adam's just explained, he's saying that it's not travelling between different layers of gas in order to achieve the coefficient they're describing. It's going from gas into a transparent Lego brick.
The amount of refraction they're describing now, they may try to portray that it's a multiple summation of very, very, very minimal ones. But this was the point. The refractive index of air is 0.003, I think, 1.003. So even if you're moving through layers of slight variance, as we would describe the atmosphere, I don't think the change is sufficient to generate the curve that they're after, the constant polygonal change. So it'd be very interesting to see if we can get hold of a copy of some of these ray tracings and actually have a little look at it. Because like I say, from the conversation
Adam,
last night, it appears.
But Adam, that's why he made sure to say it was strong, aggressive refraction.
I love that. that new strong and aggressive.
Yep.
Like my coffee.
Yep, that's how I like my coffee.
Yeah, mate.
I think it's pretty much obvious to everybody that's got a brain that these guys can't explain this. And just by putting a bit of maths to it, doesn't explain it. You can think it explains it, but it doesn't explain it. It's just a bit of maths. We want to see it being demonstrated, guys, because maths isn't going to explain it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I've not heard this in a while, Riley, but Cammy did call shenanigans last night. So that's why I want to see the numbers, because we're calling shenanigans on these refractive indexes.
Sure. Let's just assume that they can give it with the values that are correct, Adam. So they're using it in their geometric mathematics. So they're going to give it based on an over 6R value, correct?
Yeah.
Well, given that it's based on an over 6R value, the R value gives the model a geometric horizon, does it not?
Oh, yeah.
And these observations have that geometric horizon, do they?
Unfortunately not.
Oh. So this would be checkmate anyway?
The rate of atmosphere change is based on R as well, because the reason it's changing is because the world's supposedly falling away and curving away from you. That's what causes the differential atmosphere change, because otherwise, see, on a flat plane, it just travels in a straight line through that, what would be relative, the same density medium in a straight line across it, sea, water, land, whatever. It's only if you're generating altitude change based on the shape of the Earth, based on R, that you can get the atmospheric change. But like you say, if you're going to have that R, you have to have an edge that it relates to.
Yeah, a geometric horizon, as in the point in their model where there's a little X with the word horizon written, correct? So to have this refractive coefficient, your starting point for the mathematics would be this geometric horizon. Therefore, to make the maths work, they'd need 2 horizons then?
But why would they need a geometric horizon if they can't see it in the first place?
They gotta have it.
No, that's I've just whistled past that, Chocolate, by saying, so we've got 2 horizons, have we, Adam, for this to work?
Can I have 2?
We only have 1 though, don't we?
Unfortunately.
So that would mean that the horizon we have is not geometric, and the model definitely has a geometric horizon, correct?
Factually, yes.
So the conclusion is we don't have a geometric horizon, correct?
Yeah.
No
now,
evidence for it.
But the Earth sphere model does have a geometric horizon, and it must be the horizon we see in reality if that's our model of the world, correct?
Correct.
So just to summarise, the model of a sphere Earth definitely has and necessitates a geometric horizon, but in reality, we don't have a geometric horizon. Is that a succinct enough summary?
Would seem fair.
But they will claim refraction. Right, for some reason, refraction hides it all the time.
Oh, so let's try that one. So the horizon we have isn't a geometric horizon, it's a refracted horizon. Is that correct, sir?
That's what the globe heads would say, I would think.
So a refracted horizon would be a non-geometric horizon then, sir? Take your time. Just go through it again. You're saying the globe heads will say it's a refracted horizon. So if it's a refracted horizon, I'll ask it as a question. Is it a geometric horizon then?
Well, clearly it's not. It's not a geometric horizon, but they will claim somehow that it is, or it's hidden.
So do you want to just repeat your first statement? So it's not a geometric horizon then?
Definitely not.
But their model necessitates a geometric horizon. It's the very basis of their claim that we're standing on a physical sphere-shaped Earth. So let's just summarise again. Based on your claim, they'll argue it's refracted. If it's refracted, it's not geometric, and their claim Earth is a sphere requires it be geometric. So it's not a sphere Earth, because it's not a geometric horizon as required by that model. Glad we got that to the finality of checkmate once more.
Chocolate, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You know the George Musa quote, the longer one? We cite 2 regularly, but the longer one of the 2. Do you reckon on the fly you could formulate that in the context of the horizon rather than gravity and say it back to us?
We can, we do, we must consider the geometric horizon to be physical. It doesn't mean it really is one, but we don't necessarily have to work at the really is level.
Correct.
Chocolate saying 2020.
Shout out to George Musa.
For the guy in Discord, do you now appreciate how their rebuttal essentially relinquishes the geometry of their own sphere belief by saying it's refracted?
I see it. I fully see it. I was commenting yesterday on, was it Bob's the science guy? Yeah, because I saw his video yesterday and I just thought, oh, here we.
Just let them argue for how non-physical that horizon is. That's why everyone's so relaxed. Everyone who gets the arguments like, yeah, go on babble on for half an hour telling me how non-physical that horizon is. And I'll just point out at the end, what's this X in your model then with the word horizon written next to it? Based on R.
Well, he couldn't argue. All he told me was, I don't understand. I need to watch the video.
Just projection. He doesn't understand how to solve this problem.
You're arguing a non sequitur also. There is no such animal as a refracted horizon.
Right.
Thanks.
Agreed. That's just a different avenue of checkmate, though. I think you'll agree.
Yeah, I like you let them go and get them right there at the end. That's fine.
Yeah, but you're spot on. It's a non sequitur fallacy. The horizon, by definition, is part of the things that are moving in relation to itself when they describe the effects of refraction. So things moving from behind the horizon, obviously they're assuming a geometric horizon in these explanations, but they're describing something moving up to the horizon, up and above the horizon, dropping below, stretching along it. That's what they're describing. So to try and shoehorn in the idea that the horizon has been moved with respect to the horizon, that's where you'd have to logically go, and it's a non sequitur. But to square that circle, they then say, well, we've obviously got the geometric horizon, and now we've got this loomed horizon above the horizon. Well, no, we only have one horizon. So it's a laughable argument from every angle. It's just an untenable argument now. You can't argue Earth-based geometry. The sphere's dead.
So the geometric horizon was really, like Andrew Thomas Young says, it is really just a theoretical thought experiment. There's no way it can ever have existed as it were because of all these things, because unless it's just theoretical.
Absolutely spot on. By their own damning admission, the idea of us having a physical sphere edge for a horizon is nothing more than a thought experiment. And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat. I think there's another super chat that's just come in. Might as well shout that out just before we round out. So a massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. So shout out to is it Trey Clark Theories. Thank you very much indeed for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. Once again, a massive thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making this live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
And Discord, I didn't even say hello. My apologies.
No, you're all good.
I got mine set on push to talk.
Yeah, push the talk. So I heard the mic situation, so I thought this was the best way to do it.
Yeah, it's good now, Darren. Thanks.
Dim problem.
Am I coming through?
Yeah.
Who's that? Max Smith?
S100 to tower. S100 to tower. We're approaching runway 76R south.
Roger. What's your vector, Victor?
We have Clarence.
Please be aware that the horizon you are presented with may not be the actual horizon. The looming is also occurring on runway 4 and 5. Please take this into consideration.
Yeah, imagine that sticker on like every airplane window in front of the pilot. The horizon may not be as it appears.
Everything's loomed, and how does the military conduct their business?
Nothing's loomed. It's just all necessary to be loomed in their model.
Wouldn't that be kind of problematic if you're in the military and you're trying to engage targets?
Hugely problematic. You'd never hit anything because nothing would be where it's supposed to be. In the geometric version of the sphere world, nothing is where it's supposed to be in physical terms. Everything is looming. Even though they've been told looming's the incorrect terminology, and they should be begging the question and moving things with relation to geometry they no longer have, looming is what they've used until now. And according to their model, everything is looming. Nothing is where it's supposed to be.
How do you paint a target then,
Professor
John?
Phil Bell, you need a lobotomy, son. I mean, you're right around the Brenda level of intellect. You are a clown, sir. Just to let you know. And everyone knows it. My word.
Hey, John.
What's up, Arwen?
Sorry, I just came back. I don't know what you guys talked about in the last 20 minutes.
Looming.
Hmm?
Looming.
Ah, right. Same subject.
You think I'm right in my assessment? It'll just start falling apart at the seams because they're having to disclose very damning things to defend the argument, things that are detrimental to their own argument. So therefore, their argument will literally, as I put it, fall apart at the seams from here on in.
It already has.
It's the same situation as Coriolis, and technically the Coriolis argumentation hasn't really died down. They just don't forward it as much because they know exactly where it'll go. So maybe now the curvature and the visuals and all that are just not going to be forwarded as much anymore from this point on. But they will always respond like this. So that's not going to go away, I think.
Ballers, we're not going to just let you walk out of here. Ha!
Yeah, I foresee more of our side cottoning on to how easily they can have a Glober completely over a barrel with this argument and just almost to the point where they can just whisper Black Swan into the microphone and the baller will start saying, we do have a geometric horizon, we don't have a geometric horizon, the horizon's non-physical but physical. Just to turn themselves up in knots.
Nathan, I don't know if you realise, but what you've just described about this argument, Black Swan, that they could just whisper Black Swan into the mic, we can just whisper gravity as well, because they can't define it. The minute they define it as an effect, they are screwed. And they know it. They can't use the G word. So gravity is going to be a bit of a problem. This Black Swan argument, like curvature, is going to be a bit of a problem. We're gradually taking their words away. There's another one that I've forgotten about at the minute, which I'm going to have to come back to. I can't remember which the other one key word is, but we're taking their words away from them. And we can just whisper Black Swan, gravity, and whatever that third one is. And they can't come back to it. It's brilliant.
Whisper sky vacuum.
Refraction.
Pressure.
Well, really, they've lost their curvature of Earth horizon model of science, as was it Bill Nye called it?
What did he call it, Bill Nye?
The curvature of Earth horizon model of science.
Yeah, agreed. You don't have to look very far to find them claiming the horizon's a physical geometric obstruction. They've been arguing with it for 5 years. The fact that they've all now got retrograde amnesia is just laughable.
The Black Swan destroys all the other arguments, Anthony. The other arguments don't negate the geometry of the Earth, though.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that we're gradually eroding all the key words away. So refraction, when they squawk that, all we've got to say to them is, what kind? When they say gravity, we say, define it. When they say anything, we just got to go back to the basics and ask them for definitions, science that supports the resurgence. The model's fucked. It's done. It's game over, and they don't realize it yet. But most of our side are getting it now, because I don't know about you guys, but have you guys been getting people on our side approaching you and just asking you to explain it to them
one-to-one privately so that they don't understand it. I've had a few of them doing it, and it's brilliant because it's better than doing a hate video because they think that we're wrong. It's better that they come and ask and say, just run it by me, and just I'm kind of half there, just don't quite get it. It's brilliant.
Can I just read this to you? Retrograde amnesia, in brackets RA, is a loss of memory access to events that occurred or information that was learned in the past. It is caused by an injury or onset of a disease. Yeah, you could call a black swan an injury. Black plague.
These guys are still trying to figure out open and closed systems. They're holding 3-hour hangouts. I think they already had 4 of them. That's the level where they're at. Clowns.
John, did they figure out if rockets are matter yet?
Yeah. One, Sean Little G, was unsure whether rockets were matter. That's the level that they're at. Like we're in a big carnival tent. You just walk in, there's clowns everywhere. The funny part is they think they're intellectuals. It's not funny now. I mean, look, when you watch these people talk, look in their eyes. It is scary. Because I don't think they're lying. That's my take.
Half of them are. Rumpus absolutely knows that the Earth's not off sphere. He is lying. I think you're giving him way too much credit.
We know he's a liar.
He's lying as well.
I think it's time for that meow, 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 meow.
I don't know about anybody else, but I find that really difficult to follow.
I love it. Play it.
No one claims the geometric horizon is where the apparent horizon is when...
Sorry, we've only got one horizon. We don't have 2 horizons. We don't have an apparent horizon and a geometric horizon. We just have a horizon. It's just not geometric!
Correct.
So we don't have a geometric horizon on a sphere, Rumpus? And, by the way, the geometric horizon is apparent!
Mute, 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 mute.
Yeah, well then, welcome to Flat Earth. Your model of a sphere Earth requires a geometric horizon to obscure things in the distance, for boats to go over, and to bend at altitude. If you are now disclaiming that we do not have a geometric horizon, then we don't have Earth curve geometry.
I told you 2.5 years ago how this worked, and you didn't remember.
You've just made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon. So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do.
No, we don't have a geometric horizon.
The fact that this flip-flopping retard rumpus has gone from it being geometric as a necessity, as per your model, to us not having a geometric horizon, and we never have, to now it being geometric again. If you can't recognise his flip-flopping and orthodox, it's because you're as retarded as him.
So we don't have a geometric horizon, then we do, and now we don't have a geometric horizon, right? When are you running for office of retardia?
It's a function of geometry.
No, it's not, because we don't have a geometric horizon. So the horizon is absolutely not a function of geometry. It's not geometric. We've debunked that with this image called the Black Swan, where we demonstrate that if it was physical and geometric, it would be in an impossible location based on the parameters of your own geometry. So we definitely don't have a geometric horizon.
I didn't say we did. We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do. We don't. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Do you realize how many times you've destroyed your own argument today?
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
Yeah.
I love it. The best.
That's a wrap.
Any more to add? Or I'll round out the after show if not.
Meow, 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 meow. That's all I can say.
And with that, I'm going to say
Round out the after show.
Go on.
They ain't got nothing no more, have they? They ain't got.
It's 9:09.
Yeah. 2 hours. We've had 2 hours of show. What you want?
John doesn't realise that he's not got a bit early enough.
4 more hours.
How many clips of Rumpus contradicting himself do you guys have?
Multitudes.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Be a factor of how many times he's been on. Close to 1.
It's close to a 1-to-1 relationship.
Yeah.
If his lips are moving, he's contradicting
Can
himself.
I say something, Nathan, on Leoming before you finish?
Yeah. Well, I've been talked into 4 more hours apparently, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Woo! See?
Let me know when I can. I say it.
Fucking hell, man. Spit it out. You got the mic.
Okay. They're contradicting themselves because their explanation for light bending down over the curve of a globe completely contradicts what Leoming, because when we're supposed to see Leoming, we're supposed to see this object, which is light, that's above an horizon, a geometric horizon. And that's in our horizontal view. If we're from a observer height, in our horizontal view, we'll see Leoming out over this horizon. But that would mean that the light that has been bent down by the supposed denser atmosphere is now being allowed up into a much less dense atmosphere for us to see it in the horizontal. So how can they explain that? It's like you either can have the light being bent down due to a denser atmosphere or Leoming. You can't have both. Not that any of them are real anyway, but they contradict each other completely.
Well, it can technically be traced back to where they did this, because I've been forwarding this for over a week on my show, and that is technically they are flip-flopping the very nature of refraction itself, because they assume that when the atmosphere is thick, that then you see everything more as is, because then it looks more like a curve, like a ball. That was the original entry to the whole thing. And that when you see very far, when the air density is lower, the air clarity is more, the refraction is practically lower, that then it's supposedly all looming. Then the distortions come in to make it not look like the ball that they assume it is. So they flip-flop the entire nature of optical effects concerning refraction. They flip-flopped it around. They say high refraction makes more it is, low refraction makes more distorted. And that's exactly the reverse of what it really is.
Yeah, but that's what I've been like. How is it we have all this extreme refraction, super refraction, all this nonsense going on? Super, what did the guy say? Strong and aggressive refraction. But yet that's giving us higher visibility so that we could see a horizon 9 miles further than where it's supposed to be. Exactly. What the hell? I know what you mean, Arwen. It's crazy.
But it's really foundational. They literally took the raw mathematical approach of it. Higher refraction, more distortion, less as is. Lower refraction, less distortion, more as is. And they literally switched it around 180 degree and used that as a mechanical foundation for all their conceptualizations from that point on.
Yeah, they can't even argue, they can't even concede that it's an argument of equivalence, because when they say there's loads of super strong mega He-Man style refraction, you can equally argue that there's absolutely no refraction whatsoever apart from a negligible tiny amount, and that's consistent with what we see. You can't tell, but they won't even concede. It's like, come on, it's 50-50 at best, right? No, it's definitely a ball. It's not though, is it really? It's 50-50.
No, because their refraction is based on the R value to begin with.
But that's a sorry.
Where are they getting their refraction from? Well, they're basing it on the radius. And their radius gives them a physical horizon. Game over. Checkmate. Bye-bye.
There's also an equivocation fallacy.
They're contradicting themselves, though.
Hold on a second. They're also using equivocation fallacy with refraction, because they just say refraction. Yeah, light refracts, but they're actually saying atmospheric refraction, which equals terrestrial refraction.
Right. That's their machination. And that's all resting upon the switching 180 degrees, the very understanding of optics itself concerning refraction.
Kind of. 90 degrees, to be more accurate.
Yeah. I guess since optics, it does involve angles, it's a bit confusing to use that metaphor.
I'll just clarify what I mean, Arwin. I mean, they're taking what we see, optics, perspective, and then flipping it on its side, turning what you see through 90 degrees. So you're seeing across a light beam that you're observing on the left-hand side of the page. Well, no, that's farcical. Muppet vision is 90 degrees side on to what you actually see to remove perspective. That's why I say when you say inverting it 180 degrees, no, 90.
No, but that's the visual representation that they eventually use to try to argue their machination. But the actual technical optics, what optics has been proven, or what refraction has been proven to do through study, empirical data, that is what they switch around 180 degrees and claim the reverse of what it actually does. That higher refraction makes more as is, that lower refraction, distorts things. That is the foundational claim.
Sure, but
that's what I meant with 180. Not the Muppet vision. Yeah, that's 90 degrees. Absolutely.
I agree with you. That's what they're doing to the actual optics of what we see, but their model isn't based on the optics of what we see. So at some point when they're doing that, and they used to do it with Ranty all the time, they speak educatedly in regards to what the atmosphere is actually doing. Regardless of if they then bastardize it and turn it into something it isn't really doing, they're always describing what's happening in the photo. But then they'll do the switcheroo and insert standard refraction, terrestrial refraction, whatever you want to label it, but essentially assuming that the atmosphere is bent conducive with light bending around it at a rate the radius gives them for their physicality. The one we took away from them with the Black Swan. So this isn't actually conducive to what they're going to describe when they go into Muppet Vision, but at some point they've got to do a switcheroo and insert terrestrial refraction where they've been describing, albeit like you're saying with a bastardization of the reality, but they're describing reality when they do that in an educated way. Regardless of how accurate it is, they're still going to have to insert terrestrial 7/6R refraction at some stage of the argument. Well, they could, until now.
Right. Yeah, because that terrestrial refraction, that R-based refraction, is the mechanization that was spawned out of the 180-degree turn of the actual mechanical property.
Yeah, they inverted it. They
hijacked it from that seed.
Exactly, they hijacked it. They took the effects of optics and they turned them into what they claimed was Earth geometry. Well, now it's come back to bite them in the ass. They're having to deny the very hijacking. They've taken those effects and they want them back. They want to put in perspective into a geometric calculation where it's not possible. They want to claim that what we're seeing in the reality is R-based refraction, starting with their physicality of the model. So they're screwed, like completely and utterly screwed.
Yeah.
They just don't realise it yet.
Yeah, that is true, isn't it?
Well, they're technically screwed, but they can probably still get a decent enough long way to just talk their way out of it. But the technical issue is just unfixable. It's a
You
full bar.
can't talk your way out of this one.
But you can talk your way around it.
You can't talk your way around it.
But what
either.
was
you're bound by your 39.59.
what was perspective again?
They're very skilled in talking their way around it, but the actual technical foundation of their argument is just absolutely broken.
Let me try the. You can't talk your way around it because you know what R is according to their sphere. R sets the parameters. So let them try to talk their way around it, and we just keep taking them to R.
I'm not necessarily referring to any person-on-person debate that we may experience in here with ballers. Of course, they're not going to get away with it. But out there, they'll talk around it and then hope that people forget about it. Because that is really the...
Oh, there ain't no forgetting.
Arlen, could you state an example?
I have an example of what Arwen's just said.
Go on.
A real world one. Bear with me, I'll get it and I'll play it. Just hang on.
Well, how about the Coriolis effect?
No, I agree
They
with you,
don't bring
Arwen.
it up anymore, but they do definitely double speak about it when it is brought up. And that way, they're going around it. It's like a big scar now. They just go around it.
So
They
it's
don't
gonna
draw the conclusions, but
so it's going to sound just like Rumpus. We do, we don't.
Right.
We don't. Okay, well, that's not talking your way around it. That's making yourself look like a fool.
but only for those that have eyes.
But didn't we go through that whole thing with is the Earth rotating underneath things? Oh, no, but it's supposed to be. Oh, so it is, but it's not. Right? It is, but you don't see it.
I think what Arwen's trying to say
conservation
is,
of momentum. It's fucking retarded, man.
I think what Arwen's driving at is that he's saying where they have a more complex smear of bullshit over Coriolis, where they can drag out the doublespeak into abject confusion in the audience. Currently, they've just got themselves looking stupid, but it's only the same principle that's being applied. Doublespeak your way around the problem. So we need a Coriolis effect. Let's just argue about why we don't have one. So they're doing that with Horizon. Let's just argue about why we don't have a geometric horizon. It's just comical.
Yeah, guys, check this out.
Yeah, it is.
Can I round out the point? Because in a way, for example, Neil deGrasse Tyson has already kind of been doing this by telling us you can't see the curve. When you look on top of this beach ball, it's flat. He basically already did that a long time ago, even.
No, you've missed the underlying clever subliminal programming with that statement. So what he's actually saying when he holds up a beach ball, first and foremost, he's got you to reify Earth as a sphere. But when he does so, he's saying you can't see that curve. He's talking about the curve of the geometric horizon, because the ball is obviously going to have a physical leading edge that you can't see past when he describes his ant a millimetre above it. But he's telling you that stuff is flat, i.e. not curved. He's describing the geometric horizon as necessitated by it being a physical ball in his hand. That ball has got a leading edge if you're an ant just above it. And he's saying that stuff is flat. Well, he's actually describing the flatness of the geometric physical horizon that the ball he's holding would have. And so would Earth. If it was a sphere, it'd have a physical geometric horizon. Do you remember that thing we debunked? They don't have that anymore.
Right. Sorry, yeah, you got me there, I guess. But my point is that they will eventually, this will all lead to baller on baller debates and discussions about, you can never see that the Earth is a ball because it all looks perfectly flat. And let's drop trying to convince the flat earthers that you can actually see the curve. That is what I think it will go towards. They will just take the actual visual element out of the proof and just make it purely conceptual and
Then
mathematical.
it's not real. That's fine by
They've
me.
already done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to do it more.
Andrew Young already called it a thought experiment.
Okay,
and now these guys are running behind him saying, we have never seen the geometric horizon. You don't see it.
Right.
Sleeping Warrior's hanging around. So go ahead, Sleeping Warrior.
Oh, my
Did
bad,
you need
mate.
to present something on screen
So-
as well, or is it just audio?
No, it's on screen. Just on screen. So last night there was me and Bev and Emma UK on Emma UK's channel. Shout out to Emma UK. And basically we were battering Dawn Treader UK on the Black Swan argument. And basically he doesn't understand that it can't be 10 miles away. He thinks it can move up and down, but he doesn't understand how it can go backwards by 10 miles. Because it can't do it, and he doesn't understand it. But after the hangout, he went to M. Scott Veach, and he says, "Look, you got it on screen." He says, M. Scott Veach, I'm asking," and then he says, "Don't tell me we all have personal horizons. Is it behind the rigs there? Is it behind the rigs there, in your opinion?" So he's asking, "Is the horizon behind the rigs?" Because I just shut down the whole thing. I just shut the whole thing down and said I didn't even trust that it was behind. M. Scott Veach says, "My guess is that it's the line at the base of the rigs, Dawn, sweet, not the one behind." So M. Scott Veach is basically telling Dawn the comforting lie that he needs to hear. Dawn's got no courage in his conviction at all. He has to check with his peers to make sure that he's got the horizon, or he's arguing the horizon point well enough. And M. Scott Veach is saying, "Yeah, Dawn, it is behind it is in front of the thingies." And Dawn's like, "That's all I needed to know." Yeah, well, thanks, M. Scott Veach.
But Don's admitted that he is a ball believer. So, would expect that from him.
If you listen to their story, the story is that we're supposedly seeing illuming more than any other refractive effect. Okay, and that's why we always see things in the horizontal. The truth is, looming is non-existent. It can't exist. It's all nonsense. We never see looming. What we see now and again is sinking. There is no looming. We don't see looming. We see in the horizontal and we see sinking. We never see looming.
I agree.
Because that's how they twist it. That we're supposed to believe that we're always seeing everything loomed up. Right, that's what they're coming up with. Right? No, we don't see any looming. It doesn't exist. It can't exist. You know, we see sinking now and again.
And besides, the horizon cannot loom above the horizon, so not going to work anyway, even theoretically.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's just tell M. Scott Veach that there isn't two horizons. So when he says to Dawn, "I think the horizon is the one in front of the..." What the bloody hell is he babbling about? We only have one horizon. He's an idiot. Telling Dawn that there's two. "I think there's another one. I think? What are you talking about? The horizon's the point where the sky appears to meet the ground. There's only one point where the sky appears to meet the ground in that picture. Arbitrarily assigning one slightly in front of the... No, that's idiotic." Anyway, going through some of these memes. "Please help us find our geometric horizon. Without it, our sun cannot set, and our boats have nothing to disappear over." Both are stuck disappearing into an apparent horizon. Yeah, that was made by 10th Man.
Chocolate? You there, Bob?
Just before you...
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
sorry, one more.
I
Sorry, Adam, just because I've got it on screen. So, look, this is what Dawn's been told by a son of an astronaut liar. Here's what we have as defined as a horizon. That is the singular, one, only one horizon. That's where it is. He's saying, it's somewhere down here. That's what he's doing. No, you don't have two horizons, you moron. How thick is M. Scott Veach? Does he not know what a horizon is?
I didn't take it that he was being thick. I took it as he was deceiving Dawn, telling him the comforting lie. Dawn needs that comforting lie.
They need that second geometric horizon. For everyone denying the geometric horizon at the moment, because obviously they've slipped into about 3 or 4 different camps. For those of you denying the horizon, why do you think M. Scott Veach tells the village idiot Dawn Treader that there's a second horizon somewhere down here? I'll just put the picture back on for the audience's benefit. So when he says there's a second horizon, it's down here somewhere. Yeah. Why do you think he has to do that? Well, it's because their model necessitates that they have a geometric horizon. It's part and parcel of the model. In other words, this picture must have two. Well, it hasn't got two. That's why it's the end of the bloody argument and checkmate. So when you've got these morons being told by somebody who's supposedly the poster child of heliocentric sphere Earth because his daddy went to space, he says we've got 2 horizons. No, you're violating the definition of horizon, moron. There is only one horizon by definition. Telling the village idiot that we've got a second one is just... You could call it a lie if you want to, because it's blatant lie. By definition, we've only got one of them. But they need a geometric horizon. So the fact that we've got a horizon in a geometrically impossible position doesn't alter the fact that their model, the very premise they're basing their claim that we're on a sphere, still has this geometric horizon. That's why they've got to draw in this extra line and arbitrarily assign this magical position that only exists in their model, because we only have one bloody horizon. We've debunked it as being geometric now. So we don't have some second arbitrarily assigned horizon just because they need one to still claim that they've got one, because their model's definitely got one. That's why they're telling Dawn he's got 2. Yeah, I'm done ranting, sorry.
So Nathan,
say again?
In a debate, when a glober states that there's multiple horizons, what should the flat earther state after that?
Horizon is a singular defined thing. Or you just put a picture on. So coincidentally, when Brenda said it, the very picture that's on screen that I filmed of a sunset was on screen, and I went, how many horizons have we got? Just the one? Yeah, that'd be correct. Yeah, we've just got one. Now, if we're on a sphere, and you've got this position where suddenly you've got stuff that's beyond a physical obstruction being loomed up above it to give you this second position, we'd still have a physical geometric horizon. But we don't! We've still only got one of them in every single picture ever. So to the people who say, well, we've got 2, and no, we don't. Just by matter of fact, unless they're blind.
The term is singular. Horizon, not horizons.
It's like when it says gravity is not a force, it doesn't mean that it is one. You can't consider it to be one. It isn't one. It's an effect. It's defined.
Does that answer your question? Just tell them, no, we only have one horizon.
And don't be soft about it either. Be assertive when you do it.
Not only do we only have one horizon, your model only has one horizon, it's geometric. The basis of what you're claiming, we're on a sphere. We just don't have that in reality. That's where you win. When you get to that stage, every defense they give will be to say that they don't have a geometric horizon, the very necessity of their model. So just laugh at them. What's that you say? It's refracted. Right, not geometric then, like your model needs. No, there's 2 of them. No, there isn't 2 of them. There's 1. There's game over. There is no. This is checkmate. It's the most accurate way I can describe it. Checkmate's the right terminology. This has been a game, a very complex game. Now they're in checkmate. There's no position they can move to that saves them. That's the bottom line.
Game over. It's game over, man.
Any of you guys play chess? Anybody here play chess?
Yeah. A little. I used to.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of it.
The only thing they're going to do, Nathan, is dig that hole deeper and deeper.
I mean, the only way my chess analogy falls down is the Black Swan was an event, an unforeseen event. So it's more apt than it seems on the surface. So in a chess game, that's like being up against somebody that really doesn't know what they're doing and makes a very unexpected move that happens to be strong. And then you have to suddenly rearrange your game completely. You know, it's totally unexpected. If that was the analogy in chess, I suppose you could put it into a chess analogy. But no, nevertheless, the end result is the same. Checkmate is the most accurate way of describing this end result. Now, a lot of people don't. Some people who play chess don't realise when checkmate's been achieved and their opponent has to explain it to them. You know, that's not too uncommon with new players. You know, they don't quite realise they've lost, basically. And this is the situation we're in now. Basically, they're in checkmate. They don't know it yet, and we're having to explain to them. You know, and they're saying, "No, I wasn't the black ones. I was the white ones." No perspective. It's absolutely comical.
And it's because the new players don't understand the oversight that is really part of the game, that the planning ahead and the knowing of the consequences of what you do in opposition to what the opponent is doing. And that's the most complex part about chess, you know? And yeah, that is where they could make unexpected moves and it could be kind of good, but they still won't be knowing what they're doing. And yeah, if somebody then catches them and says like, "Oh, yeah, I got you checked or checkmated," then they might think, "What? Why?"
That's
But
like that.
they just don't see it yet.
Like that professor Phil, whatever his name is, still trying to use Muppet vision. I mean, keep up to date, bro. Muppet vision is played out.
In a game of chess, when the king is put into check, which is where their king is, their position is actually they have only one square to go to, and when they go to that square, the next move will be complete checkmate. Now, anyone who's a chess player will know this, and they just turn over their king. Okay, but they're not willing to turn over their king. What they're trying to do is create a situation where their king can move into a square where they can't move out of that square because they're moving themselves into check. They're looking for a draw.
No,
that's actually what they're looking for.
No, it's loomed up.
No.
Yeah, the king is loomed up.
I want to correct him, QE, because I made the first chess analogy. No, it's where the king's in check, but there is a physical square he can move to, but he's also in check if he moves to that square. So in other words, they're moving between two squares that are both in check. That's basically that is checkmate, but it's just that the king, by analogy, if every square's covered, the king can literally move nowhere. But in this instance, he could, but he's still in check. It's still checkmate. But because they're moving back and forth between, well, we don't have a geometric horizon. Yeah, that's still checkmate. Well, no, we do have a geometric horizon. It's just loomed. Well, that isn't geometric. That's still checkmate. They're just moving to different squares that are still completely going to kill the king. And in terms of when they were in check, i.e. they could move, but they weren't in danger in the next move, was when we were left at a draw. When we were pointing out Muppet vision and various other things, they could still just laugh at us and say flurfspective. Now they're all scrabbling to use perspective in a geometric calculation. In other words, totally untenable argument at that stage. So, yeah, it is, it's checkmate. Go ahead, QE, if you want to add something. Hold on, Brian. Go ahead, QE.
No, I was just saying that the king's loomed.
The king's loomed? Said the king's loomed?
Yeah, they're attempting to loom the king.
He's not physically in check. He's actually in a different square.
The king is loomed. Long loom the king.
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Again, massive thank you to Discord and G+ Panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!